Austin Price of Volquest.com. He joins us each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, we appreciate the time as always. Saturday did not go well for Tennessee on the road. As you know, you were there covering the game. What do you think has been the main talking point among Tennessee's football team about trying to get things corrected, what they need to do this week against UTSA before jumping back into SEC play?
Well, defensively, it's tackle and tackle and tackle, and offensively, I think it's just quit having the little mistakes that kill drives. I mean, Tennessee, kind of like South Carolina, which is why I think next week's matchup's really interesting. Has been able to move the ball between the 20s. They put up yards, but points on the scoreboard. I mean, a combined 46 in the last two against Austin Peay, a team that, most people picked you to score 50, 60, or maybe 70 against, and Florida. And then that's a down Florida team. I know they beat Tennessee. They beat Tennessee, hands down the other day. But, that's still a Florida team that could very likely lose, 3-4 more football games before the end of the season and end with 4 or 5 losses, and so Tennessee's, got to kind of go back to work and, fix the little things, whether it be in the offensive line, whether it be Joe, being more accurate with the football. They just have to fix the little things here and there and see if they can get them corrected, see if they can get some mojo. They've lost the offensive mojo that we've seen under Heupel. The last, really 3 games. I think 49 against Virginia is good enough, even though Virginia's not very good. The last couple though have really been, sticking out for how bad Tennessee offensively has played.
Austin Price, Volquest.com. How much do you expect to see from the young players? Anytime you have a performance like that, where you have multiple guys, not playing their best game, it does open up opportunity for others to possibly play. Do you see a lot of new and young players getting on the field this week?
Well, defensively, they've already been playing David Hobbs. I'd say you'll see his role increase, especially with Omar Norman-Lott out in the first half. Caleb Herring, I think, will see a little bit more run this week. Arion Carter is already getting plenty of run. Jeremiah T. Lander did not get in the game last week. I think you'll see him this week as BJ tries to push his rotation. And then I think they'll continue to push Ricky Gibson at corner. I think that's somebody that will see more and more action, and, we'll be interested to kind of see where Tennessee goes with the corner spot. If Doneiko Slaughter can't play, I think it's Gabe Juvie-Lally, and then, maybe they start Kamal Haddon, but I bet you see Ricky Gibson fairly early if they don't.
Austin Price, Volquest, each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. What do you hear on the injury front? Cooper Mays is the big name to watch. Doneiko Slaughter was not out there this past week. What you hear about them, if I'm missing anybody, and then Gerald Mincey's status has been a question this week as well.
Sure, I think Mincey plays this week. Does he start? No, I don't think that, but I do think he plays, and I think he was in line to start last week before he had to goof up Thursday night. And outside as far as the injuries, Cooper, I think all that boils down to him. He's a week further along. He'll be 6.5 weeks post-surgery when the game happens at 4 o'clock Saturday. And Doneiko Slaughter, I think Doneiko won't play this week. If he didn't play last week, I think they give that toe another week to heal, and because they would rather have him full strength or as close to full strength as possible for next week against South Carolina.
Austin, on the recruiting trail, the story, I guess, last week would have been about Boo Carter taking an unofficial visit to Colorado. What do you hear about how that visit went, where that leaves things? As he's a Tennessee commit, to be clear, but where that stands with Boo after taking a visit out to Boulder?
Yeah, I think Tennessee's still in good shape there. I mean, obviously Colorado's pushing hard there. But I think a lot of factors still line up for Tennessee. But, you have to be leery of it. You have to be very aware of, what you're going against. And, Colorado's got a lot of juice out there right now. That atmosphere is really good. Now, is it better than Neyland Stadium when Neyland's rocking? No. I mean, Colorado Stadium holds, 50, 60,000. I mean, it's a small stadium. But, I mean, a lot of passion around the program right now out there. And Deion's got a lot of juice. But, I think, deep down, Boo knows that that there's a certain level he can get to here that he can't get to other places. So I think Tennessee's continued to talk to him, continue to work on him. But it's definitely something you have to worry about. I mean, like you can't just, turn your nose up at it. That's something you have to be very cognizant of.
With offensive line, woes so far this year, I think it's easy for fans to go, okay, well, what's the solution? Well, nothing you can really do dramatically right now, but in the offseason, recruiting from the portal, recruiting in high school, how do you think that plan will be executed in terms of going out and targeting offensive linemen for the future?
Well, they've already got, several in this class committed. And so I don't think you think about it in terms of high school kids. I mean, they're still trying to get Jordan Seaton to visit. I think that's more of a long shot than anything else. I think where Tennessee's got to be very diligent, very, as Coach Heupel would say, intentional, is they're working the transfer portal on the offensive line. I think that's something that, they're going to need at least 3, if not 4 or 5, in my opinion. And I think that's where Tennessee will have to swing big, go out and swing big in the transfer portal, and hope you can land some guys that can come in and play for you and help right away.
How easy versus challenging is that? Because Tennessee started a couple of transfers on the left side this past week, right? Everybody wants the transfer offensive lineman if they can play at a Power 5 level, right?
Well, 100%. And, John Campbell, had several options. I don't think Andre Carrick's options were nearly as great. Again, I think you can go get transfer linemen, but I'm talking about guys that are like instant impact, like difference makers on the offensive line. And I think that's where, Tennessee's got to be really, really aggressive. You saw what USC needed, defensive line help. They needed help on the defensive side of the ball. What they do? They went out and got Bear Alexander. They did what it took to get Bear Alexander to go from Georgia to USC. And I think Tennessee's going to have to do that with offensive linemen to hit the portal this offseason.
Is there a player, Austin, that you're looking at and saying, hey, we got to get that guy going. We got to get him. And it could be on defense, but the easy answer probably is offense. But is there a guy that you feel like Tennessee needs to get going early in the football game this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's not just one. I think it's Jalen Wright. I think it's McCallum Castles. The more he plays, the more I really like his game. And on the offensive side of the ball, I think it's Brew McCoy. I think he's he's just steady Eddie, and I think he's an important piece to the locker room. Again, a physical guy who does all the little things well. Coach Heupel talks about doing the little things well. One guy that does do the little things really, really well is Brew McCoy, and I think that's somebody they need to get going early this week. But really, it's just everybody in general. You just got to find a way. Is it a play or two that kind of flips the light on, gets the juice flowing, and all of a sudden Tennessee's offense, starts making some plays. Right now, it feels like they're playing with the lights off. They need to flip the lights on.
Austin, before you go, did we miss anything, or is there anything to watch this week or next week with a couple of home weekends on the recruiting trail for Tennessee?
Next weekend they'll have Cam Michael in, the wide receiver / defensive back out of Statesboro, Georgia. Tennessee's recruiting him as a receiver. And then they'll just have a bunch of unofficial visits, a lot of 25s, 26s in this weekend and next weekend.
Man, 25s and 26s. We move quickly. A lot going on. Tennessee football, a couple of home weekends coming up. Recruiting never stops, and they never stop covering it at Volquest.com. Austin Price is part of the team, and he joins us each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs, making it unique, making it special, making it just for you. They want to be your jeweler at Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, thank you for the time as always. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.